This is how pathetic drama is. I clicked on this video expecting, like, the normal video. But no, it's Destiny. It's the guy who doesn't even know what Boolean is right now.
System of algebraic notation using logical. When you say Boolean values, that is one of two possible values, usually denoted true and false. Okay.
The more you know. In this video, you're gonna have hundred moments of learning programming. The way that I did it, I bestow onto you, my fellow viewers. It is worth a subscription right now. Before you forget, deep into the video, learning 100 things about programming. The first few levels we're gonna just go through mixed in with drama, because people, you know, are learning something about Pirate Software's code and that it's not good enough, basically, right? But we will push it to a whole new level. This is how my code looks like. Alright. Pretty intense. I mean, I don't use extra lines to split my code, like, so everything looks pretty intense simply because I don't like that shit. If I know which part of my code does what, I just zoom in and it's like, okay, alright, we're doing this. I can change this and that. And it's like, whatever, right? I swear at this point there's 100 things I can teach people. Which is quite surprising. Like, I am technically on Pirate Software's side, but the dude is a little bit sus. Especially if he comes out of Blizzard, you know? Like, he's supposed to know how to program, no? Alright, let's begin.
As of recently, a pro-consumer movement in the gaming space.
Yeah, call it pro-consumer movement. Just so everyone knows that it's not about corporations or game developers, it's about consumers, of course.
Space called
Let everyone know,
Stop
guys.
Killing Game.
And let everyone know that there's a lot of consumers who want free things. I'm not gonna dive into this. I've already made 4 videos pushing back on this idea. You know, it's not actually useful to me. I don't care. I don't play MMOs. I don't do this shit. This is technically candy for people who have nothing going on in their lives and they want more free things. It's whatever. I don't care.
Games.
It's
Stop
pathetic.
Killing Games is an advocate.
But this guy is gonna give all the background. That's pretty bad. Ask me. Where's the coda?
Takes them down because honestly, if I was claiming I'm a game developer with 20 years of experience, this would be embarrassing to have online. When you look at any function call as another developer, you should
Bro actually is roasting this. You gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. Don't touch that right now. Don't be a fucking level 100 piece of shit. We can't do this. We can't. We can't do that one. Yeah, so it's not gonna be easy, guys.
A bit of a note before
Show the code and roast. I guess we don't get none of that. Alright. Coding Jesus does another video on this because it's pretty juicy.
What is up, guys? Up to be, despite the fact that I know.
What are you playing game, dude? You playing game? What fucking bullshit is this? Why is he on top of the page? Alright, let's see someone who is more normal than coding
quick
Jesus,
context,
I guess.
Code. I don't condone or endorse context and really misrepresents pirate.
Misrepresents. I love that. I love that part. I love misrepresenting Pirate Software. Because, you know, hypocrisy hits hard.
I just want to go over that. That's with my game, so I...
Damn, Ludwig Game Jam.
I consider myself decent. What he's critiquing, as you can see, is a built-in game maker function. And that's where his... If you just...
On front page, there's people misinforming or misrepresenting the fucking... Oh my fucking god, bro. Oh my god. Can we please not look more pathetic? Oh man, the internet looks so pathetic every single time, but this... Every single time they level up their patheticness, bro. I guess we're gonna have to start from scratch. I guess there's nothing fucking honorable about any of this. It's just clickbait fucking rage bait. Oh boy. Or clickbait fucking trend bait, you know. Oh boy. Let's begin learning programming in 100 things that I've learned inside Unity Space. Unity Space works with C#. I don't know nothing about any of this, to be honest, how it differs from the rest of the coding languages. I just adapted, and you might want to double check if you have the same tools. And most of the times, things are gonna align. There's gonna be if statements, while statements, right? And all these statements are important to master. All right, let's begin. I'm gonna go somewhere less significant, like a fucking minion code. These people deal with GameMaker, and you just like plug in a script into an object. So you're already skipping all the like void phases. By the way, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to describe things that don't have names for me, because I'm not doing research. I just try to make things work, right? And I made things work on the screen. I can play games now. Cool, right? And this engine that I use on the screen, I mean, it's been like 5 years almost. Maybe more like 3 years since I am upgrading it slowly. And it's gonna come up, alright, in the mix, because there's a big feature that happened that changed everything. That made everything transparent and on top of the screen. I had to use a plugin. I had to use someone else's code. Eventually that's gonna happen, right? Someone else will boost you over the hill. It's been a long time since I'm a programmer, so I just had to grab a bunch of information from all over the place. But I usually work with like just the most basic shit, and I just Google of like Unity terms. Until AI. Now with the power of AI, you can ask anything about anything. You don't need to be like Destiny and Google what a Boolean is. AI can explain it much better. And AI is the new booster for all the programmers. Programming has never been more accessible. So if you were somehow 50-50 split on whether to jump into programming and learn this new skill, you have a pretty good assistant. So the shit like start, right? Like the start is like a routine, a function. It's mostly a function. It looks like every other function. A function that is being called automatically whenever an object is created with this script attached. So it's already pretty fucking complicated. Meaning that this is not level 1. But this is important, right? We have a bunch of attachments, but I usually try to cram them into one. So it has just a lot of stuff in there. But it's just one script that requires a lot of stuff to function. The moment you start and this object is turned on, it will call the function. There's another way to call the function, and is to start asking for things. Change color into this white color, right? You got to figure out how to summon a color, how to define a color. This would be like level 2, and we're gonna have to track the levels, so alright, let's fucking go. Knowing this, knowing that you have to say new vector. Oh shit. And that there are different vectors with different sizes. But why would you use vector? What is that shit? Interesting, isn't it? Why would I skip Boolean when it's so easy? When Booleans are so easy. Well, you have to start from the middle to know what you're dealing with. So vectors are pretty complicated already. They have the y-axis and the x-axis. They can go in a positive direction or in a negative direction. Just never know, right? And you have to start visualizing the vectors. This might be like 1.5x and maybe like 5y kind of vector. You have to start learning like what is up, what is down, all that shit. And obviously, the very first thing is the if statement. If statement, and again, the brackets. This is where that Boolean goes into. Right? This is not going to level us up. The if statement is. But the Boolean is going to level us up when we realize we have to combine them together. We have to bracket them as well. We're just going to call these curly brackets. All right. We can bracket them as well, and it's just very difficult to read all of a sudden. I have never adapted into reading Booleans. I don't even know what is this. Does this make sense? It probably doesn't make sense. You know? Because this usually has to be inside brackets. Either this or this has to be true, and this has to be true. So all of a sudden you thinking logic gates, right? And then when something is true, this happens. Whatever is inside here happens. But not only that, there's always a funny little flexibility meme of like, this can also happen. And plus plus happens to be +1 to whatever integer you're working with. Or floats. Floats can do the same thing. It's +1 on this thing. You need the plus plus if you want to go and level up into the for loop. So we have the vectors. Before we go into for loop, you have to understand there's mathematical shit like quaternion. And I'm sorry, bro, I've never learned what it is. I just know it exists. Does that level me up? I mean, I know what Euler angles are. And I have all kinds of fucking weird-ass functions that change the angle of an object, blah, blah, blah. Like sending a point to screen, like it gets fucking mental. So rotating, like, quaternions piss me off, and there's like 4 quaternions just so I can do it in different ways. Yeah. So the moment you understand that quaternion exists, I think you leveled up. I think something changed in your brain. You realize you're dealing with some crazy shit like rotations, and rotations are not straightforward anymore. Also, local scale, local position, local versus global is another thing to hang yourself on because it's complicated. Understanding what is a local position and how to translating local position to global position. Now you need specific vector math. You have to get the position of the object. You have to have subtract. Potentially, you even have to do translating from rotated object. It's some crazy shit you have to start learning how to do with these vectors, basically, right? Then we can talk about for loop, the easier thing. Or is it? First, you have to learn that arrays exist, right? You have to. I just still don't know how to fucking summon an array, by the way. I still don't know. It's something like this. You select the size of the array. It's so fucking complicated, but you pull through it, right? I technically just use lists, all right? And I think you should just skip to lists because often enough that's good enough. And they just say new, and then you just add to the list. Just add. Keep adding. Now, understanding fully how the list functions and how useful it is another level. Yeah, dive inside the list. And I should start using the comment. Understanding why to comment It's late game, by the way. You probably don't want to comment any of your code. It's very, very late game. I started commenting because I have so much code, I keep forgetting what the fuck it does. So commenting is, in the end, useful, but you have to keep it at a minimum. You know? It's not that useful. Keep it at a minimum. Don't comment everything. Just whenever you feel like it's complicated, it's getting, you don't understand the code, for the future self, blast that fucking comment. So yeah, vectors, bro. Again, vectors are needed to manipulate the objects, like me, scale me, rotate me, blah blah blah. In 3D space, by the way, the vector doesn't change. It just introduces z scale into the distance, you know, into deeper into the screen or closer into from where you're looking at. I'm getting closer and closer, guys, to level 100, baby. Yes, this video is a flex. Judge me, bro. Judge me. Now, you must understand, like, what? Why would I use for loop? Or should I use while loop? And then you're like, for each loop? How the fuck do I even do that? So just being aware of, like, these different type of loops and how they differ from each other, congratulations. We're getting somewhere. Alright? So first you need to unlock arrays. You need to unlock the need for arrays. To need to loop. But the moment you are a high-level programmer, arrays are going to be up your ass. Alright? You even want to, like, do two-dimensional arrays at some point. And I think I did it once so far in my project. It's like folders, right? The folder directories and then folder. Who the fuck are you? Okay, that's fair. It's kind of two-dimensional. You can have both. You can have array inside a list, so congratulations, guys. I didn't even know what the what? What the? Yeah. It's a fucking array inside a list. That's some crazy shit. What the? Anyways, you must learn this notation so hard. So fucking hard, bro. It is the most annoying one. Blah, blah, blah. Length, right? Something like this? I forgot because I don't use this shit anymore. See, the funny thing is you can make a custom function like this. And I have a custom function which is while. You can see array FQ. But I'm just teasing, guys. This is a teaser. You don't need this right now. It's too tough. Alright, so forget about it. Length. Let's see. This scales, right? So usually I think it's this way. I think it's this way. It's the most generic one. So let's say length of 5, and this goes to like 4. And this sets up 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the I to be, because arrays are shifted to start from 0. Yay! That fucking creates complexity that will destroy your life. Which is why length of 5, this is 5 elements, but they start from 0. That's all you need to know. Hide that. Don't show that. No one needs to know. Alright. So why would you use while or for each? Alright. For I would not use that. I would never use that. I swear to God, I would never use while or for each. Sometimes for each is useful, while is not useful, but you will level up the moment you realize. Shut the fuck up over here. You can crash your computer now. Yep. At least the app. You can crash the app so easily with these loops. If you fuck up on this one, it's time to reset. And you'll know. You'll know you fucked up on a for loop. You know, you're in some next level shit. All right, no big deal. So how do while loops work? Well, you do the same thing. While length is something. While something, it's a bool, right? It's a bool. The bool is inside here, inside the for loop. I'm gonna rewrite it. First of all, you don't have to have integer here. You can pre-install the I. That's important. It's important to deconstruct the for loop. That's another level, boys. So you set up the I. You can set the I to like 5. You can add another as integer that's like 10. And then you can do the same thing here. Just keep on doing as. You can do 2 plus 2. This is like the end of for loop. You increment some values, you set some values. This is the start of for loop, and this is the inside of for loop of when the for loop has to break, it has to stop doing its thing, right? It has to stop going forward. What if you wanted to go backwards? Well, that looks good, right? Oh shit, you need -1, baby. No. And you have to change this. So deconstructing for loop is definitely a big-ass level, if you ask me. I think I is like larger or equal to 0, which is also an important thing, right? It's not only bools are true and false statements, but the inside you can make very complicated bools, which are math like comparisons, right? Comparisons. Which can be like this, which can be like this. Oh, what's that? Oh, what is that? Oh, it's a bit comparison, bitch. It's bit comparison. Bitwise comparison. It's some crazy shit, and there's a lot in there. It's a lot in there, boys. There's this one. What the fuck is this? I don't know. I don't remember. You have to check it up if you need it. Bitwise comparison just opens up the entire bit because everything is made out of bits. This could be like a fucking, what is it? A 3, a 2. It's a 2, right? Because that would be a 1. That would be like a 1. That would be like a 0. Now you're learning about bits. So like, what bit? Everything is 1s and 0s. They didn't lie, guys. They did not lie. Oh, let's not stop with maths right there. Let's continue the math bullshit, because you can multiply numbers. All right, let's remember the math. Math, guys. You can power the numbers. So now you have to summon the maths gods. Like, shit, I need to power my number by 2. I need to even though I could just do this. I could just do this, but why not do it fancy? Because now I can power by an imaginary number. Holy shit, man. Oh, what's that? I remember. I heard something about sinus and cosinus, bro. The circle creators or whatever. If you learn that, I mean, implementing this anywhere in your code, congratulations. Although it is important, like one of the most important things is mathf lerp. Ability to smoothly transition from one point to the other, from one value to the other. I don't know how lerp works, guys. I already forgot exact way of using lerp, so oops. I can't possibly remember everything, guys. I just know that's a level up, so yeah. Yeah, smoothly transition from like a color value from any vector to another vector, which is one point to the other. You get the idea. You just have like vector 1, vector 2, and just ratio or whatever. Another level happens when you discover mod. And it's like, what the fuck? Nobody told me in math class that mod exists. Well, mod is used to separate values, right? So if you have 56, you can mod by 10 and extract a 6. Pretty good, isn't it? If you divide by 10, then you can extract the 5. Because you get 6 left over, but 6 is useless now. If you're dealing with floats, it will divide properly. So you have to actually turn this into a float. And learning all of this is another level. It's a level that will haunt you forever because you will never be able to... The most errors you're gonna get is because you divided a float, or it becomes a bug that you have to search for, of like, why is this value not the way that I want it to be? Why is this like color not changing? Usually it's because your integer is not divisible by 10 properly, so it doesn't have like a smooth transition. It's like, fuck me, dude. That shit has ruined like 5 days of my life. I don't know, dude. If not more. So, happy leveling up. You're way too deep. There's no going back. Bro, this is just basics. This is just noob material. Alright, so while loops, be careful with that. It's just a bool. You have to just turn off the bool inside. Turn off the bool. Alright, turn off the light whenever you've done the work and leave the while cycle. For each, you feed, what is it? Integer. You read this from inside the array. And then whatever the fuck you read, well, do that. So instead of doing the array of this, you do the read instead, right? Is that a level up? I don't know. Alright, now we have to start digging because I've gave you the basics. We can start picking up on like some game logic. We have to understand when something gets triggered. The trigger enter 2D of like, what the fuck? You know, you have to learn collision. Which is one thing. Then ray tracing, which is another thing. Things that I'm not gonna fucking explain in this video, I'll tell you that much. Because I probably want to learn them myself. Then there's bullshit like gravity. Come on. I don't need that. Like gravity plus physics. Damn, bro. When to enable, disable that shit. Then you have not only collision, but like collision plus their boxes that you might want to have access to change that. I personally like when a collision is exactly wrapped around the object and oh shit, you don't want to know how painful that is because now you enter the world of polygons. The more you discover a polygon, you will never see well, you never see your family again. Because I don't fucking like polygons. You better leave them alone. Don't touch that shit. You went way too deep, kid. If you want to see your family again, you must understand that there's other things than polygons. Oh, yeah. There's errors. Ugh. Until this code is gotten rid of, like, I can't really run my thing. Basically, there's other ways to render a scene, but polygons is what people chose to do. They draw a bunch of polygons into like a shape, and they put that shit on the screen, and it's ugly. It's as ugly as it sounds. This is the new 3D graphics that we have here. I don't know, man. I have created ray trace rendering, and I feel like that's a little bit better. But you be the judge. Let's see, I uploaded some videos here. I'm not sure what the main one would be. But you can click on the most popular, which is here. Just ray trace rendering. It allows me to do some cool shit. But yeah, polygons. Everything is made out of polygons, including your precious collision boxes. Yep. That's all I wanted to touch. Like, this is not fun. It's not, but you need it in programming. Are you gonna program 2D garbage? 2D pixel art? Yeah, then just have fun with the basics. But the moment you enter a 3D space, and even 2D has collisions, funny enough. Things have to trigger each other. So maybe they don't have to have physics, but well, sometimes you need custom shit. All right. Here comes the drugs. You have entered past level 30. The first drug is to make sure you understand how to save files, right? Saving into files. I don't know, but I have like a read all text, save all text type of shit, and then you start dealing with a file, which usually is a notepad thing, the text file, right? That shit is hardcore. All right, it's almost like 2 levels at the same time, saving and loading, plus encrypting data, but it's not really encrypting. It's just like managing data that you want to save and load. Like, it's pretty complicated. I'm just saying, it's pretty complicated. That's the text file that I have for my thing, and I'm just saving like names and influence numbers or whatever. It's not a lot. Not only you can access the text files, you can access images and sound files. That shit's crazy, isn't it? So like opening image files. Let's go, right? And plus changing the name of the file. The reason why this matters is I realize I might want to save not these numbers into some text file, but just on top of the name. I have to say them somewhere. There's technically like metadata, potentially, or I just put the text file here, and then I know the metadata of all these images, but I just need like one number. One number, let's just put that number in there, fuck it, you know? Let everyone see that number, whatever is defining that card in some way. Fuck it, right? The number, the name, I exposed everything, and fuck it. That's the name of the file for me. Now, before I even was brave enough to save into files information, I was learning about some fucking alternative way to save information. And I think this is still left over. Fucking player prefs. I'm just, don't touch that shit, but you're gonna get yourself into some dark corners, learning some things that are not actually useful. Just go straight to saving into files. Even if, you know, you're gonna be hacked and fucking your game can just be completed by just a simple number change. I don't care. Do it anyways. Technically, Unity encrypts some data, so it's not too accessible. But if you're saving into text files, it's usually going to get exposed. So there's some privacy with player preference shit. But I'm not using that. I will never use that. Unless to just safeguard something, I don't know. Mouse plus keyboard. 2 levels. And then we're gonna get to some bonus levels. Yeah. This was like extra complicated because it has another layer to it. You can either hold a button or you can just have freshly pressed the button. You have freshly unclicked the button. You have to understand how any of these things are named, just extract them and just save them so it's more convenient for you to access. For me personally, I do this. And again, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. I do this of like, what did I do? I unclicked mouse main button, which is a 0. Unfortunately, most people have to do this. Input, mouse button, get mouse button fucking up, like, which is 0. That's what they have to do. I don't know, man. Mine looks pretty fucking cool. Your looks like shit. And so I had to simplify a lot of functions, and you must do that for yourself. Sorting algorithm is something I have really big problems with, because I think I made the fastest sorting system, but nobody acknowledged that. So, okay, boomer. Most people want to sort inside array, and I'm just like, no, use list. You would use list anyways. So I sort inside a list. I pump it with a bunch of air. It's a lot easier to sort things, and bam, slam. I think I'm faster than the fastest one, but who cares? It's just another level, another hurdle to jump over, understanding sorting. Like, bubble sort is technically the easiest one, but I would skip that and go to insertion sort. This is the thing that you need to learn, because my sorting system uses insertion sort to some degree to fix errors. So it's useful to learn that one. Sorting is just basically you have a bunch of bundled numbers or whatever, and you try to go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or you have bundled letters, and you want to do that. Or you have a bunch of names like car and not car, and you're trying to see which one has the lowest letter alphabetically. Crazy, I know. Usually you just do numbers, though. Things are attached to numbers. The rest, it doesn't matter. Names don't really matter as much as numbers. Let's move on. This might be it. We can just start looking into my code. These are simplifications. There should be no repetition. You must join the stop repetitive code gang. If we see repetition in your code, we beat you up. All right? That's illegal. You must understand, at level 40, it is illegal to repeat your code. You can't just copy and paste. Illegal! You can't copy and paste. That's illegal in coding. There's no control plus B into Z, bro. Shut the fuck up. You have to learn a way every single time you code to not repeat anything. Nothing, bro. Nothing that is not necessary to repeat must be repeated. So, even this, like, looks like repetition, right? And I want to beat it up. I want to beat that shit up. You're not gonna do this to me, bro. So very likely I can, create a thing where I just like say, bam, sheets, windows, right? Just like add X or whatever. But it must make sense of why I'm doing this. But yeah, you see repetition, you gotta kill that shit. I'm not willing to kill this one in particular just yet. But it definitely should trigger your senses. You're part of the clan now. Again, some people extend their code. So I would say if you have your own coding preferences, you already leveled up. Like, people would do this. But, like, why would you do this? Why? Is it faster to access this? Are you sure? You need fast access to something you're never gonna fucking change anyways? Wow. So I don't know your coding preferences, but I squeeze everything into tiniest space so I can navigate faster, just in case, right? I even starting to do ports. So I have ports where I can teleport, guys. Isn't that sweet? Like, just learning navigation is the most important shit. There are these, like, the actions or something like coroutines. There's something really complicated about them. I don't touch the exact versions where you can even, like, use a function after, like, 3 seconds of waiting. Like, I don't know, man. I didn't touch that shit. When I do my, like, card gamer shit, I do actions. I have just learned actions because it's very important. You just say action when death happens, when a kill happens, when you're setting up stats, bam, and then you attribute these tiny functions, basically, to every different type of thing that you have. Like, I have this. I also have, no. I have this, which works in a different way than this button, right? So if you want different functionality in a similar object, you might want to have a split in terms of, like, names into actions. Right? Also, take control of the string. But before we do that, we have to dive into the world of extensions. If you want to get to level 100, you better extend that shit. So what is extensions? Extension is the magical dot before anything that you type in. So this has to be like an integer for me to do the mouse. Dot mouse. Extends, bro. These are going to be your tools. And technically you can have functions as tools, but extends just so much easier. So I have this many. Alright? I have 400 lines of the extends. Usually they're 1 or 2 lines size. They have to be very small, except for the fucking key extend, because I have to actually add every single key and simplify it. So if I want, you know, the L key, I just say key. The other motherfucker's saying input, get key down. Get the fuck out of here. And they still need to key code L. Oh, thank you, bro. You did it. You're the man. You typed in 4 times the amount of fucking characters. What is wrong with you? So extends are gonna be essential for you. And then you understand that strings are very powerful things in the world of extends. So I can turn this thing into like an array really quickly, right? And I'm even like plussing them together with an extend because just extend makes it better. In the end, I can do this. If I did plus every single time, string plus a string plus a string, I can't add this because it would add to the end of the thing. So either I have to like bracket all of them, or I just found this to be more convenient for no fucking reason. Alright, so I do that. I'm just addicted to extents now. Usually you find extents when you have to dig deeper into other functions, right? They also automatically become extents. So if I want to go into a different script and use this, but inside here, I have to access the script and then its function. So it kind of looks like an extend as well. Learning how to send information in between and have global information in general shared between objects, I mean, that's a thing, which I probably just butcher the way that I do it, but eventually you will need to learn this. I simplify all the vector shit, but the biggest simplification is the code of colors. So color coding, at least in Unity, is absolute ass. You have color, new color, And then technically you go in between float values to get the color. Like, it's a little bit awkward, guys. So learning the color is like learning a new vector that's like extremely complicated. What I did is I used the magic of extends, right? In the extent world, my color is, if I want red, it's pretty easy, right? It's a very basic color. It's this. And then color. Bam, slam. Look how much less work we need to do. And less space in the brain you need to do. But you can also create an extent that says red color, which is not that much different from color red. But hey, you know, it's, you have the power now. You can actually add different kind of colors for yourself. You don't just have to rely on Unity to have a specific color that you might not like anyways, or you might want to rename that shit to something else. So, I have this, right? But mostly this. This goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. This can go to 55. But now we're talking about 0.55, right? So, this is how I do my colors. I even changed the while loop, you know, or the for loop. I simplify the for loop for myself. So I'm like, okay, I need the best loop possible. How do I do it? So I type the least amount of stuff, and I do it as fast as possible. Bam, while. So length, FQ, reference, Why would I do this? This seems like a lot of work. It's not. It is important for me. Because this shit is automated. I don't want to type this shit, bro. No fucking way am I typing this shit. This goes smoothly. But typing a for loop, let's try again. For, int, blah, bam, length, okay, let's go. And now we're in. And technically, it's the same thing. Why would I even fucking create a while loop? But I did it. I did it anyways. I did it, guys. And technically, this is shorter. It's a little shorter. Look at that. Even tiny bit shorter means everything to me. But most importantly, it's convenient because I don't have to think about this thing too much. Oh yeah, reference is important. There's reference and out. I'm not gonna talk about it. No. Out is you get a value for yourself from inside the function. Reference is to change the value while inside the function and you still get it back. But I'm not gonna talk about it, guys. Level 50. Even dealing with screen position, mouse position is annoying enough that it's its own level. Or like screen size, making sure that this percentile position, that you adhere to any screen size basically, it's its own fucking beast basically. File pathways, I forgot to add that because it's kind of complicated. Pathways of accessing a file folder is hard because you need to get that disk. You have to get through a bunch of shitty folders, and then it's like, that's yours folder. Plus, there's a resource folder. So you have to learn the resource folder of Unity. Resource folder that would be encrypted, and now you have to understand what gets encrypted, what doesn't get encrypted, when you should choose resource folder over just reading from the outside. It's definitely worth noting this pointer enter, pointer exit, and drag on drag events. they kind of like need their own mono behavior extends. I don't know what the fuck that is. So AI try to teach me something about that. I never found it important. I would say constructing a command line like this is super essential. Like just debugging inside your game is quite important, or being able to just summon the level that you want to summon, like level 10. All right, we're testing level 10 right now, right? Debugging is super important. Don't fucking underestimate this. When dealing with strings, you're going to be dealing with these kind of strings, when you can insert any value inside that already exists, right? The variable that already exists. Now, there's so many different types of variables that it's its own level that you should have learned already about, and how to handle variables. What kind of names you want to give to your variables. There's even like objects, like component, shit like this. There's these kind of brackets. Like what are you doing? Stop. So searching for a component is also its own task to learn. Inside the loops, you need to know continue and break. And that's its own adventure as well. And also there's the Switch. Yes, Nintendo Switch, guys. Which has like cases in them. So you have like a variable, and the cases check whether the variable is equal to that particular value, right? And then it performs the case that always have to break. So I don't recommend Switch, but sure, why not? If it looks good for you. And then there's default. There's a default value. So in case you don't find like an equal value, it will always go to default and will give you, you know, the effect that you want to apply. Handling and learning more stuff about colors is so important that it's deeper than that, right? Adding, subtracting, hash color, coding, basically. Then multiplying colors. There's some handling of like adding layers of transparent colors together. There's a little bit of color handling you might need to learn. I don't know. As ray tracer, I needed to do that. So, I mean, the RGB knowledge needs to be like fully fleshed out, and there's like transparency, right? So it adds another layer of complexity. That's extremely relevant. Also, one tool I want to show. Read pixel color. So dealing with pixels and even adding pixels is 2 levels. Reading pixels, changing pixels, and saving the image. It's another thing. Loading image, saving image, you get it. But now you're saving custom images. It's a big deal. Random, math random is its own beast to tame. Rectangle is a beast. The order in which your objects appear also matters. Order of objects. And even rendering of who gets to be in front. Checking if the word has something or a string has something is like the most important thing ever. String has something, starts with something. Because you must be able to use not just red, but say color red, speed 50. And you must be able to decipher all of this code for yourself. Like custom coding, in a way, that's also like a plus point. Like we have to go really fast right now. Min-max function, holy shit, is that one crazy. I actually flip them around because you usually use minimum to find the maximum. Stupid shit like this. So in an extent, I just flip it. Where I say 10, but the maximum value can only be like 50, okay? Let's not get too fast. So it reads pretty coherently, right? Not just debugging must be for every object or for everything. Everything must be able to be debugged. So if I say text 10, I must be able to change the color of this stupid text to something else, right? I must be able to just tinker anything I want, change anything I want, because the same change that I make is something I can use for inside the coda. And I can test different versions of the same thing inside the game because, bro, you don't want your Unity to load and unload every single time you make a tiny change. You want to do everything inside the game. Test everything inside the game. That is if there's loading in the first place. Well, there is compute shader, which is a whole fucking dimension, bro. So we're gonna get to that. It's gonna be a bonus meme. The dimension of compute shaders. You might open a different dimension for yourself, but that's just my thing. I created something for myself like a string pool of information. I just find strings very useful, so introducing string pool. So this is a variable, right? That constantly adds name plus value. And then adds another name plus value. Name plus value. And it's just a pool, right? That you should be able to control, change the stuff, and it's easy to just like save this string into a file. That's usually the only reason why I would have something like this. Or I just want to have one variable. I don't want like a fucking array. Nah, bro, don't do list. I just want a single variable, and that's fine. So I don't know if it's useful, but I did it. Created a pool for myself, which has a lot of editing or its own functionality. Simplifying code again, it's a lot of stuff like that. That Unity provides this, and it's like transform position. You're gonna type that shit over and over and over and over and over again. There's no end to it. So might as well just call it position, and it will extract from a rect transform or game object. There's rich text I forgot to mention. Rich text is pretty important. Rich text. Scale this a little bit. Add shit like this. Change color. That's rich text, guys. Shuffling and randomizing. You might want to have a custom code for that. So it's not just random of like handling the random in various ways, but also shuffling arrays and then reading shuffled arrays. There's this delta time bullshit that you have to learn, and it's very frustrating. I don't even want to talk about it. Also, there's specific notation for arrays. Arrays have additional notation. So when you want to read a list, you add or subtract, but there's so much more. So array has this shit going on. Like, okay, I'm reading the last element of the array. What am I doing now? I'm reading everything but the last element of the array. And now I'm excluding the first element and the last element I'm excluding and creating a separate array for that. What? What? And obviously these can be flex values or whatever of how much you want to exclude. This notation extremely useful. Then I click the button level up. You must understand that there are things that are characters, there's things that are chars. I mean, there's strings and there are characters. And that shit's different. And sometimes it will throw you an error. That's all I know about it, guys. I don't know, when would you do chars? Like, even this, when I'm just isolating one, it's not a fucking character, dude. But it is what it is. Materials. Everything has its own material. and shaders, and you have access to all these like different values of shaders. Like that shit's crazy, dude. That shit's crazy. Again, changing vector or extracting vectors from themselves, like switching from one type of vector to the other. You have to have so many shortcuts. Even shortcut for like a texture. I have one of those. That's the main way to use the extents, is turn a string into a color, right? Or turn something that's integer into a float. Wow. Or something that's a float into an integer with just like flick of 2 buttons. You can do it like this, but I mean broski, like, what is this? What is this, bro? I just clicked 3 buttons. You clicked 5. You slow. Splitting the string, so you can see I will need to split the string. So I have to split like this. And now you have extraction of these 3 values inside. This is an array now of these 3 values. Splitting is important. Parsing is important, turning this from a string into, again, handling the variables as they transform from inappropriate variables to something that you can use for the particular thing. That's important. I cannot use a string inside where I need to use an integer. Rounding. Number rounding is also a level. You can round up, you can round down, you can just let it round as it rounds. Where it's like naturally just goes to 1, or this one goes to this, or this one breaks your computer. I do a bunch of Q comparisons. There's potentially weird ways to... Oh yeah, there's this comparison thing. So you have a bool, and if the bool is true, you get this. If the bool is not true, you get this. So it's kind of like the if this or else statement, but it's also its own thing. Usually for values, because like I'm setting up a variable of bomb, right? And it's like, if I added enough gunpowder, it is explosive. If not, then it's a fucking brick, right? However, it's explosive, or if I didn't add gunpowder, it's a brick. That's my extension, all right? Don't look at this and think that you can do it. You can do it. But the funny thing is, with extensions, you don't need to do shit like this, where you like add more inside that thing. I just add another extension of saying of like, maybe it has some kind of other powder. All right, it's just white powder. And then it's like snow or something, right? And I can keep adding this shit. So it's very convenient for me. You guys will have to learn this, maybe, until you do extensions. So there, not only this happens where you have a bool, and this is kind of like a little tiny switch, and you will need it very often, but you can also nest these inside each other. You can nest this over here as well, right? Just keep nesting that shit. Again, strings are so important to learn. There's like a replace, right? Replace function. I'm not sure exactly how it sounds, but replace function is super important. Because replace is something that it removes things. It's counterintuitive, but replace, if I do this, my extent will just remove it. Usually you need this, right? Replace into nothing. So this would get deleted. This part would get deleted. Or you can replace into something else, right? So it's a very simple string transformation, but pretty deep stuff. Logging is important, of course. You might want to customize logs a little bit. Just like warning, error stuff. Vector normalization. That's a whole fucking dimension right there. I don't know if it's valuable, but like it's there. You might want to know what a normal vector is. There's even a normal color or something. Like, what? This is where we get to the bonus meme level of shit that I've done. So I've created the best sorting system. Me, I've done it. I leveled up. You have to get the bonus levels from the gods themselves. And most of my levels actually exist inside the compute shader. So I have a bunch of like line hits, mathematical logic that I've learned. Reading from a texture map, which I also customize. And it does not look like this. It looks like this, and these red lines actually define where the textures are. Just knowing how to use Compute Shader in general is complicated enough. Because you're entering a whole new space of drawing on the screen. And it requires a whole new, next, different language knowledge. Which has its own little way of simplifying the code. It has like some kind of like define, which C# does not have. This is how a for loop should actually look like, while my while loop is a little bit creative. Unity is a piece of shit, is all I want to say, which is its own level, you know. Eventually, the program you're using, even the language, potentially the programming language you're using, is going to be garbage, right? You leveled up to the point where you're getting pissed off more than you're making progress. Learning about noise is important, and learning why polygons are shit because they require a bunch of optimization is also important, all right? Learning to avoid polygons by all cost. Because if you start learning about this shit, it's its own level. So it's one level to at least avoid it. And it's a whole dimension of trying to understand polygons and construct polygon meshes or whatever. Like, get the hell out of here. So there's a whole, like, nested, like, prefabs. Which I don't care about necessarily, but it's important. Like, I'm not gonna code prefabs, I'm gonna code things that just automatically come together. So I don't care about this thing, but it's a thing that I've learned, unfortunately. Because a lot of the stuff has to be pre-saved. Don't ask. Unriching the text, it is its own problem to solve. Yes, rich text has, you can rich the text, but what are you gonna do when you have to unrich the text? And when are you going to unrich the text? Because you don't want to read strings like that. You want to read a clean string. Yes. Beautiful, isn't it? There's not just time, delta time, because that's its own thing to learn for every single motion that you make. But there's also time frame count. Yeah, frame count. You'll definitely need a lot of that, or just like knowing time, for example. Just like handling the date time thing is important. And even translating like 65 seconds into minutes and seconds. Simple stuff like this I'm adding into that. Distances and magnitude, I mean, it's kind of like a part of normalization. Absolute value as well. Destroying objects is a fucking nightmare, by the way. You'll see it's not that simple. This destroy function is not simple. Potentially you want to like disable code whenever you resummon an object. Sometimes you want to disable the objects, not destroy objects. So you want to just like make it just disable. You can enable object and disable. It's very different things. Gotta squeeze that 5 more. 5 more, guys. Yeah, there's like on destroy, there's late updates. To every single one of these events, you might need all of them and understand all of them in case you need one. Every available event ever. I'm gonna add the meme where it's like sometimes in the world of motion, you don't know if this is moving forward or everything else is going backwards. So when I had to construct a new room, it was actually ambiguous of like, I can just make them go forward or backwards. It doesn't matter. What? Or sometimes in the world of like gaming, there's a lot of particles that just go in at the player as if the player is moving forward, but it's the actual particles going at you. So and you're just like moving around the screen, but you're not actually moving. It's just like an effect. So I think it's interesting. How sometimes we just don't use the motion the way you would think. By the way, again, this whole thing is a tool, so I can have like a YouTube search. Cake. Give me a search for cakes. And I feel like everyone should have that. Everyone should know how to like summon websites or whatever, at very least, and navigate search terms. Fucking camera. No, camera is crazy. It has its own settings basically. An application quit, of course. Nah, let's find something cooler than that. Getting component is annoying. It occurs a lot, but we gotta get something better than that. I guess summoning. Summoning in its own territory. The funny thing is, in a summoning, like you actually need to deliver a lot of information of everything you summoning, right? You have to set like this one value to a certain thing, this other value to a certain thing. So a summoning command, like, pretty complicated shit. I mean, I can summon a grid. It's a simple grid. But what if I want parameters? So parameter is complicated. Alright, so I have like a parameter of name, which is the most basic one. And here you go. Now it has a name, and I obviously can change the parameter anytime. But how do you set up parameters? So I do it like that, right? I do name or like size, like this. Figuring out when to use the percentile values. But yeah, summoning is hard, especially when you want to summon it with parameters. Thank you guys for watching. I did the best I can to explain the magic behind programming. And drama was fucking useless. What is that pirate thing? I don't care, bro. I don't care. It was useless. I thought we were gonna look at some code and explore it a little bit. I do agree. I mean, maybe it's the gang. Maybe they found an imposter who did click control, copy and paste. Yeah, pirate is going to jail for that. But that's fine. Sometimes people go to jail. What can you do about it?